So I was just at the salon getting my hair done, and the guy that was getting his hair done next to me was talking about how he always gets his hair cut at Walmart. Did not know that was a thing you could do, but apparently. And the hairstylist was like, oh, well, why'd you decide to get a real haircut? And he goes, my wife. And she kind of starts laughing, and she's like, oh, she finally forced you to get a real haircut? And he goes, no, she always hated how I cut my hair at Walmart, and we're going into divorce court today. So I thought it'd be funny.
A couple of years ago, I had the best first date of my life. We were meeting at the train station, and as a little joke, I texted her, hey, if you're looking for me, I'll be wearing a dirty Canucks jersey and jean shorts. And when I got there, found her, she was acting really weird, and I was like, what's up? And she's like, I just don't know why you would wear that to a date. And I was like, I'm not. It was a joke. I mean, you should be able to see that I'm not wearing it. So that was a terrible way to start. And then we started walking to the restaurant, and total personality clash. We didn't get along at all. So by the time we got there, I was like, normally I would finish this to be polite, but maybe. I was like, hey, we don't get along. So instead of having dinner, do you want to just go our separate ways and never talk to each other again? And I don't think I've ever made a woman that happy in my life. She smiled, she gave me a hug, she left, and man, I hope she's happy.
Put a finger down if one time on a first date you walk into the bar and the guy waves you over and you were like, oh shit, this guy's like 6 inches shorter than he said he was in his Bumble profile, but you sit down and you have a glass of wine with him anyways because you're too socially awkward to say anything about it, and you guys are sitting down talking and you start asking about his job, and he starts talking about cleaning espresso machines, and you were like, oh, I thought you were a lawyer, and he goes, no. And then a hot guy walks in and you were like, oh, that guy's hot, and then he sits down at the table next to you and he looks at you dead in the eyes and he goes, hi Justine, what are you doing? And then you look at the guy across from you and you go, oh, is your name Sebastian? And he goes, no. Isn't your name Sarah? And you go, no. And so then you have to pick up your glass of wine, you have to move it to the table next to you because you're on the wrong date, and the guy across from you was being set up on a blind date and he didn't know what the girl looked like.
So today is my first day back in work, and I've realised it's the little things in life that you miss when in lockdown. As I was driving down the road on the way, I noticed a guy walking down the path looking quite tired. So I decided to have a little fun. I beeped my horn and waved at him as if I knew him all these years. He looked up confused and just waved back like, I have no clue who he was, so he's going to have no clue who I am. That's going to mess with his head all day. You're welcome, random guy.
There's no way around the fact that I'm laying in a trunk. What's up? Whoa.
What's up, everybody? So as promised, I got that trunk story for you here, but got to move pretty quick, so let's get into it. Basically, my issues began when I stole my neighbor's cat. No, I'm f***ing around. The boys and I were at Benihana at 6 o'clock on a summer night. 9 rolls around real quick before management decides it's time to move us out. We were having a terrific time, though. The sake bomb, watching the guy do the volcano onions, whatever, and the choo-choo. Either way, we decided to continue the night over at 7-Eleven, across the street. There we are. To our great fortune, run into some boys we know. Say, hey, you think you could just give us a ride home? I live like a 5-minute walk. But in this instance, I draw a short stick. Either I lose the nose game or rock, paper, scissors, I'm in the trunk. We drive for about a minute before being pulled over. Cops open up the trunk. I look up. I'm just like, oh, shit. What is going on? I get out. They tell me my boys have dipped. And I say, shit, I better dip too.
Story time. So there's this one road in my town that everyone knows not to speed on because half the time there's usually a cop down at the bottom of the hill. Well, I live right off of this street and drive it every single day. Well, back in August when I was moving, I wasn't paying attention to how fast I was going, didn't see the cop at the bottom of the hill, and ended up getting pulled over. The usual happened. He came up to the window and was like, ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, yes I do, because I'm a speed racer who doesn't know how to slow their ass down. He ends up letting me off with a warning, and I go on my merry little way. Well, just now I was driving home from school, not paying attention to how fast I was going, and not paying attention to see if there was a cop at the bottom of the hill. My fast ass was going 60. So same thing happens, takes my license and my registration. He comes back to the window and informs me he's the one that pulled me over back in August. He ends up giving me a warning and tells me not to go 60 and a 40 ever again. There's no moral to the story besides I need to be aware and slow my ass down.
Put a finger down if before your very first NCA exam ever in year 11 you decided to have a shower because you were nervous about the exam, and usually when you have a shower it makes you less nervous. So you go to have a shower, and while you're in the shower, you decide, I'm going to shave my legs and my armpits. You go to shave your armpit, but on the way to your armpit, you end up slitting your nipple with the razor, and you're home alone and you don't know what to do. You sit on the toilet and your nipple is bleeding out. You decide to put on a bra to see how it would go, and it bleeds through the bra, and you're bleeding so much that you begin to get drowsy and tired, and you can't go to this exam. So you end up not going to the exam, and you have to explain to people and the teachers that are asking, I didn't go to my exam because I slit my nipple open.
Okay, so last summer, entering my junior year of college, I decided to work for 10 weeks up at a summer camp called Hume Lake. Yes, the same Hume Lake where I coined my iconic name, Low Breadstick. So I was working up at Hume for the entire summer. Was I a counselor, a lifeguard, a rec leader? Nope, and nope. I actually worked in the kitchen. I was a host at the high school camp, meaning that my job consisted mostly of wiping down tables, restocking shelves, and taking out the trash. A glamorous life, I know. One day I was wiping down the tables in the dining hall for like the 100th time with what we called Whiz and Sanny. Mind you, I've been doing this for hours every day for like 5 weeks at this point, so I would consider myself a fairly expert whiz and sannier. So one day I'm wiping down these tables and a high school camper comes up to me and says, here, let me show you, and reaches for my spray bottle and rag. I'm a little taken aback, but this should be fun, so I give it to her. She proceeds to take the rag and wipe down the table at the speed of light. Limbs were flying everywhere. The earth shook. It was reckless and speedy. I cannot emphasize the swift and chaotic nature of her motions enough. So she finally finishes and hands me back the rag smugly. And to top it all off, she says, I've worked at 3 food places.
Okay, so story time. I once accidentally started a bar fight in Manchester. I was young and stupid, please don't judge me. I was out with a group of friends in Manchester for my birthday. We'd had quite a few tipples. I went into a bar called Cane and Grain, which do some amazing cocktails. My friend ordered me a drink and I started to walk up the stairs. As I looked down at my drink, it's on fire! There was a pomegranate on top of my drink that they'd lit on fire. I thought, I'm not having this, so I removed the pomegranate and chucked it over my shoulder, not thinking. Behind me being a large row of bench tables, and 2 groups of quite big chaps. It hit a guy on the back of his head. He turned around thinking it was the other group next to him, and that started a massive ruckus. They were fisticuffing! It ended up being about 20 guys fighting. So obviously I did the honourable thing. I walked up the stairs and left the situation. I mean, I did come back down about 30 minutes later once the police had arrived and kicked everybody out. Thanks for the lovely drinks. See you again. So if you were the guy hit in the back of the head, that was me. I'm sorry.
This girl hits me up and says, Sid, I will legit pay you $50 to see if my boyfriend's cheating. His snap location was at his ex-girlfriend's house yesterday. She gave me his Instagram and obviously I DM'd him. Are you a parking ticket? Because you got fine written all over you. Wow, clever. I mean it. You're super cute. We should talk more. Thanks. You're not bad yourself. You don't have a girlfriend or anything, right? Why do you ask? I barely know you. Well, you could get to know me better. Yeah, I guess so. So, do you have a girlfriend? No, I don't. Pretty sure you do have a girlfriend. Good. Add my Snapchat. And I gave him this fake Snapchat, so our boy did not pass the vibe check in the slightest.
Okay, so this is maybe one of my most embarrassing stories yet, and I can't believe that I'm telling it. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I was in my school's theater group, and at the end of the year, we put on the musical Cinderella. What was my role? I was a mouse. Here's a pic of me, and here's another. Here's me with a royal prince boy dude. So cute, right? Oh, so cute. So, as most of you will remember, in the tale Cinderella, the mice turned into horses to take her to the ball. So, the night before the show, the dress rehearsal night, we finally received our horse costumes. Note to future actors and actresses, don't wait until the night before the show to get any part of your costume. Ever. You will not have time to make changes. So, our director gave us our horse costumes. We were majestic white horses. So, we'd be wearing white lab coats, white gloves, white pants, and white paper horse masks. The horse masks were made by a stagehand and had little eye holes cut out of the front so that we could see. Listen, if you guys can't tell where I'm going with this, we looked like the freaking KKK. The freaking Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, like, literally, when we put on the costumes, we ran to the bathroom and started crying.
So, has this ever happened to anyone else? My husband just came home, and as he walked through the door, I was in another room. So he's gone and said, hey, how are you? How was your day? And so I've responded, being like, yeah, it was really, really good. Told him what I got up to. And then he's gone and responded and told me about his day. And then I heard him say goodbye. Then he walked into the room that I was in and said, hey, how are you? How was your day? Yeah, that whole conversation I just had with him, he was actually on the phone to someone else. He didn't hear any of it.
I am dying. I am so embarrassed right now. I just went to the gas station to get some gas. I got out of the car. I started pumping my gas. This man next to me is probably like 30 years old. He says, "Hey, how's it going?" And I said, "Not too bad. How are you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm all right." And I said, "Okay." And then he goes, "It's just raining." And I was like, "Oh, I know." And then he goes, and I'm just getting gas. And I was like, "Yeah, me too." And then he goes, "I was going to say something to you, but then I didn't." And I was like, So I thought about it for a minute and I was like, "I'm sorry, like what?" He turns around, you guys, he had a Bluetooth in. He was never talking to me. Oh my God, I died. I'm never going in public again. He wasn't talking to me. He was having a full conversation with somebody else and I answered all of the things he was saying. He got in his truck and was like, "The chick next to me is an idiot."
Okay, so I feel like I need to share this because only this stuff happens to me. So a couple of years ago when iMessage was first introduced to iPhones, I was talking to two boys at the time. Cute. And I went to the beach and I took some photos of me in a bikini. And I thought I should send this photo to both of them, like, you know. And what does iMessage do? Group message. Group message between me and the two boys. Long story short, they found out who it was of the other person, and then they began to start messaging in that group chat of photos of me with them. So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. So my feet stay ice cold. And 14 years ago, when my husband and I first started dating, he used to put them under his leg and keep them warm for me. Well, as the years have rolled on, he has developed an attitude about them and says no feet should ever be that cold and to keep them away from him and da-da-da-da-da. So the other night we were laying in the bed and they were so cold, and so I tried to put them under his leg and he got an instant attitude. So I said, "You can't start something 14 years ago and then act offended whenever I try to put them under your leg, you know." And this guy, dead ass serious, looks at me and says, "In that case, I'll take a blowjob."
Okay, fellas, listen up. I was talking to this guy. I thought he was a boy. So when he told me to come over, I was like, no, you're going to have to be more convincing than that. And then he said, "I'll feed you." That caught my attention. I said, "Ooh, what will you feed me?" And he said, "Tacos." And I was like, yes. And then he made me tacos and I was just like, okay.